Hi there, my name is Kara. I'm a nutritionist and certified intuitive eating counselor, and today we're talking about exercise and why you may find yourself hating it and what to do about that. There are four areas to look at when it comes to your relationship with exercise. And by relationship, I mean, how do you feel about it? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Or something in between? These four areas are purpose. So what do you view as the overall goal or purpose of exercise? Second is definition. So how do you define what exercise is? Third is personal history. So what has exercise historically or typically felt like for you? And fourth is logistics. So which is like your access to exercise, time and energy available, the clothes you have for exercise, things like that. So let's look at each one of these for a little closer and how to shift each one into a more positive mindset. First is purpose. Why do you exercise? Is it only to burn off calories? Is it only connected to your eating habits, i.e. when you eat certain foods that you may deem unhealthy? Do you have rules or consequences for yourself about how much exercise you have to do to make up for it? So this type of mentality around food, I would classify as an unhealthy relationship with exercise. One that is based on fear of body changes if you don't exercise, low self-worth, and in some cases, even used as self-punishment. This mentality is also deeply connected to the dieting mentality with food, so having a restrictive, weight-focused mentality when it comes to how you eat. With this mentality, the body is viewed as something to be fixed, and most often exercise is seen as the main tool to fix it, along with going on a diet, so restricting certain foods or food groups. So the problem is, and I can't go all the way into it, there's so many problems with this mentality that I can't cover in one video, but the main problem here is that the exercise itself is not what's motivating you. The motivating factor here is the fear of what will happen if you don't exercise. So that your body won't change, that it won't be fixed, or that you'll be unhealthy. So maybe the health benefits are what really are motivating you. But in that case, it's still the thought of I should be exercising X amount rather than I find joy in exercising because it feels good, grounds me mentally, etc. Another issue with focusing on the more external factors as motivators for exercise is it tends to be very inconsistent. The most important factor for consistency with exercise is deriving pleasure, which makes sense. So how do you shift from hating exercise to loving it? You have to actually derive pleasure from it and enjoy it. The hedonic theory of motivation says that people will repeat activities that feel good and will avoid those that cause pain or discomfort. So the no pain, no gain mentality really disconnects us from our body. So I want you to ask yourself, how would pursuing exercise for pleasure and enjoyment change your desire to be active? Would it change where, how, or who you exercise with? And if you knew exercise wouldn't change your body, what types of movement would you choose? If it had no impact on your body, my guess is you would choose things that are fun, that you just like to do. So how would it feel to choose those things now? Second, we have definition. So how do you define exercise? So in my practice, and I personally prefer using the term movement instead of exercise. The word exercise tends to mean very structured, planned, difficult types of movement, while movement itself just means moving your body. And studies show that if you are, for example, sitting for 15 hours a day, then exercising, even if it's very high intensity for 1 hour, this is much less beneficial metabolically for longevity, for mental and physical health than lower intensity more often throughout the day with less overall time sitting. So that's why I like to use the term movement. In this video, I will use both movement and exercise. Exercise is what most people call it. So for how you define exercise, when you think about your definition of exercise, is there a time requirement for it to count? Like it has to be 45 minutes or longer or something. Is there an intensity requirement for you? Is there like a sweat requirement, i.e. if you don't sweat, it doesn't count? Or do you have any rules about causing soreness? Like it has to make you sore, it doesn't count. Do you have expectations of changes in your body? So if you aren't seeing physical changes, do you tell yourself that you're not exercising enough? All go into how you define exercise. Do you feel anxious if you aren't able to get in your definition of exercise on a given day? What things do you say to yourself when you fall short of your definition of exercise? When you have a streak of sticking with it, what thoughts come up then? Is it excited that you're sticking with it, or is there also a fear of messing up and getting off track and what that will mean for you? So in order to shift your mindset, if you find that you're saying to yourself, I hate exercise, try redefining what exercise means to you. Maybe using the term movement feels good. Maybe it's just focusing on sitting less that works for you. You know what else is movement? Walking your dog, vacuuming your house, running around the yard with your kids, or dancing around the kitchen. All of this is movement. So once you shift your definition to be just moving your body, your confidence builds with your ability to keep moving. Your self-image improves and you begin to derive more pleasure from it overall. Third, we have personal history. And this is something I go in very deep with my clients and could do many videos on. What has exercise or movement historically looked like or felt like for you? Starting in childhood, was it ever used for punishment? Was it presented to you as a way to lose weight at a young age? Was it demonstrated to you by parents or people you looked up to as something that was supposed to be miserable? Also look at your dieting history. Has exercise always been connected to a diet for you? So when the diet ended, the movement stopped as well. Your past history with exercise is not something we can change in the present, but in order to change your current feelings about it, it's really necessary to look back and see what it has meant to you in the past and felt like to you. It may take some mental rewiring to look at those stories from growing up or adulthood that defined your current relationship with exercise, and maybe questioning the beliefs that resulted from them to see if they are supporting you now. So asking yourself, is it true that exercise has to be miserable? If not, what is actually true and reasonable here? Movement can be fun and feel good, and you get to define what movement looks like and feels like for you. Finally, we have logistics. So this is where we get to do some problem solving. The other three areas we talked about are more mental, while logistics are kind of more physical things, barriers you may need to overcome for exercise to be enjoyable. So look at what are the logistical things that are making exercise uncomfortable or just not enjoyable for you and making you feel like you hate it. Look at your time, your energy, and your mental capacity in your life right now. Are you in a really big transitional phase in your life, like starting school or graduating, starting a new job, or a new big project at work? And are you expecting yourself to have the same time availability to exercise in the way that you did in the previous phase of your life? So what can you actually be realistic about, and where are you setting expectations too high for yourself, causing it to feel miserable? If you don't have as much time or energy and haven't yet figured out how exercise or movement fits into this new phase, where can you cut yourself some slack and recognize just how much you have on your plate right now? Just like one meal or one day or month of eating is not going to suddenly give you a nutritional deficiency or a chronic disease. So being in a transitional phase with exercise, and there's no set time on what transitional means, it can be a very long time, where maybe it isn't a priority, it's not going to have the catastrophic consequences on your long-term strength and health that you may think. This has been a big one for me with pregnancy. So if you can't tell, under the table, I am almost 9 months pregnant, and movement has looked massively different for me in this phase, including about 3 months of zero movement due to nausea in the beginning, the first trimester. Does it mean that I'll never be strong again? No, it just means it looks different right now, and that's okay. Other logistical barriers may be things like weather. Is it the dead of winter or extreme summer heat? And maybe you typically enjoy running outside, but it's just miserable right now and you hate it. What other types of movement would feel fun for you, taking into account the weather? Just like your life doesn't look the same from season to season, month to month, year to year, exercise or movement, doesn't have to look the same either. It can change all the time, as often as you want. If you've typically had a very rigid, strict, unhealthy mentality with exercise, maybe it's a season of life for you to cut back and give it a rest and work on redefining your relationship with it so it can actually bring you joy. Okay, so after looking at those 4 areas of your relationship with exercise, I want you to ask yourself these questions when you think about your current movement routine. 1, is it rejuvenating and invigorating rather than depleting? 2, is it enhancing your mind-body connection? Or do you feel like you're constantly at war with your body, trying to control and manipulate it into looking a certain way, using exercise as a tool to do that? Do you give yourself rest days when your body needs it and preemptively? And finally, does it provide genuine enjoyment and pleasure? If you have enjoyed these reflections and mindset shifts around exercise, I encourage you to check out my new course, How to Make Eating Easy, Intuitive Eating Foundations, which is available for enrollment now. In this self-paced course, I guide you through how to evaluate and heal your relationship with food, movement, and your body in depth. Check it out at the link in the description and use code YouTube for $50 off. See you next time.